Year-old girl from Worcester, allegedly murdered by her own father, faced years of chronic neglect. That was a key finding in a report released today by the child advocate. The report identified several DCF missteps that left A'zella Ortiz and her two siblings in a dangerous situation for years. Co-anchor and investigative reporter Carrie Kavanaugh was first to report DCF was involved with the little girl and her family. She was on Beacon Hill today to question the child advocate about the findings.
The Department of Children and Families was involved with A'zella Ortiz's family for 3 years and 8 months. But despite that, things never got better with the family situation. The child advocate says things actually got worse. But DCF never changed how they were handling this case. They never removed the kids from the home. They never set this case into a family courtroom. 4-year-old A'zella Ortiz, a child state investigators say was living in isolation with her brother and sister, children who rarely left their Worcester home. But over the course of several years, people raised red flags with the Department of Children and Families, and social workers noted a lot,
including inadequate supervision, parental substance abuse, and failure to obtain pediatric medical care. This resulted in missed health care appointments, failure to address developmental delays, poor nutrition, social isolation, and unsafe housing. Despite all of this, DCF did not make any changes to their case practice approach.
Are you saying at some point those kids should have been removed from that home?
We believe that additional reviews needed to be undertaken to determine what additional things could have been done to get the parents to comply.
DCF closed the family's case October 2023, believing the family relocated to New York, despite social workers not having contact with them for 114 days. 1 year later, October 2024, police were called to this Seaver Street apartment. They say they found 4-year-old A'zella Ortiz cold to the touch, covered in feces. Investigators say her father claims she fell off the table, but her injuries were more consistent with a 2-story fall. Mercedes wouldn't place blame on individual social workers, rather a lack of clear DCF policies, particularly around neglect cases. In a 65-page report on the Ortiz case, the child advocate made several recommendations, including revising and updating the DCF case closing policy, especially on cases that have been ongoing for years. Establish a quality assurance framework so the caseworkers know what steps to take when a family issue is not improving. Embed an understanding of chronic neglect into DCF casework and what those risks can mean for the children involved.
And I really appreciate the OCA's report recommendations, and I know that the agency will take them into consideration immediately and work to take steps, anything and everything that needs to be done to protect our kids.
On Wednesday, Governor Healy stopped short of saying what recommendations she felt should be implemented. In a written statement, a DCF spokesperson said in part, "We will address the concerns raised by the OCA, including reviewing our policy when we are considering closing a case, assessing training needs, and providing clearer guidance on assessing families for risk factors commonly associated with child abuse and neglect." The child advocate says she understands the recommendations she's making will require taxpayer money, a financial investment, but she says the state should not be balancing the budget on the backs of Massachusetts' most vulnerable children and their families. For 25 Investigates, I'm Carrie Kavanaugh.
Francisco Ortiz is charged with the murder of 4-year-old A'zella. He was indicted in July. He has pleaded not guilty. Ortiz is due back in court next week for a motions hearing. A trial date has not been set.